I think that's the main benefit, that ability to move forward and to move forward quickly. But the other benefits, I think, are that parties are able to explore the aspects of the dispute that are really important to them.
Yeah.
I've seen over the years parties' disappointment in appearing before an employment tribunal or a court when those issues that are really important to them are issues that they're not able to talk about, when they discover that the court is only going to apply very strict legal tests and award a compensatory amount if they're successful. And that, whilst it takes parties so far, can often be a real disappointment to parties, when actually what's really important to them might be the emotional toll a case has taken on them, or another aspect of the case that they just really want to be heard on. So I think that ability for parties to really get their message across and really engage with each other to get an understanding of where the other is coming from, I think is the a real powerful aspect of mediation, and is an area that I see as a real benefit.
Hi everyone, I'm Stuart Lawrence, founder of Mediator Locator, and welcome to our short video series, Meet the Mediators. In this series, we're getting to know the people behind the role. Mediator Locator is a national mediation service connecting clients, law firms and organisations across all sectors with a panel of expert lawyer mediators, all of whom have years of specialist experience. This series is a great way to see the human side of mediation and why choosing the right mediator can make all the difference. So let's get started. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Dawn Dickson of Anderson Strathern. Anderson Strathern are based in Scotland, have offices all over Scotland, and demonstrate the national reach of Mediator Locator. So Dawn, good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, Stuart. Delighted to be here.
Thank you very much. So diving straight into the questions, can you tell me a little bit about your professional background and the path that led you to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a lawyer by background, so trained and worked predominantly in Scotland, albeit as part of my legal background, I worked for a global firm for about 9 years, which resulted in me traveling quite a bit and getting involved in a number of disputes with clients. So that, I guess, has seen me amass in total about 27 years of work getting involved in mainly disputes, and seeing the impact of those disputes on individuals, on corporate organisations and charities. So a lot of my background has been seeing the real impact that these processes can have on various bodies, various individuals, and that's really informed my thinking and the way that my career then progressed.
And you kind of specialise in the employment field mainly, don't you?
I do. Employment law is very much my passion. That's the one area, straight from being a trainee back in 1998, employment law absolutely grabbed me because of the fast-paced nature of it and the variety of it. And I'd say in the past 10 years, I've specialised principally in discrimination issues. So individuals who are bringing discrimination claims or organisations who are responding to discrimination claims. And that's a real area of interest for me. But employment law, there is always significant amounts of change taking place at all times. So you have to really keep on top of it. And it's a really interesting area. It involves people, of course. So that's my main area of interest and the area that I can most easily relate to. It's very much, it started off as a passion for me, and it remains a passion for me to this day. So I've not regretted my choice of deciding to specialise in workplace issues and people issues.
And there's quite a few changes coming down the track, which might lead to more mediation. So how did you get into mediation? What was the passion there?
So I suppose I alluded to, earlier in our discussion, I alluded to the just viewing disputes and observing disputes and the impact of them. So a significant proportion of my work has been involved in contentious litigation. And what I've observed in doing that work is that there seems to be, for a lot of individuals and corporate bodies, just this law of diminishing returns. You know, they start off in a very entrenched position where they are sometimes very principled or feel very strongly about a dispute. And the longer it goes on, it can sometimes be seen to be more of a negative for the organisation or the individual, in that the spend goes up, the time invested in it goes up, the strain it takes on the organisation and on the individual goes up. And sometimes I wonder if, you know, individuals are just thinking, why did we get involved in this at all, as the time lengthens and the impact of disputes, you know, take their toll on them. And so it was very clear to me, from involvement in judicial mediation and involvement in mediation during the earlier part of my career, that training as a mediator was something that I very much wanted to do. And then I got the opportunity, when working for a global law firm, to take some time out, to take, I think, 10 days out to go and do a accredited course as a mediator. And since then, the difference it's made to my practice in terms of bringing just some relief from the traditional way of resolving disputes to my clients, and to the clients of other solicitors who perhaps don't want to deal with the dispute themselves. That's something that I very much enjoyed doing and enjoyed seeing the benefits of for clients. And the kind of testimonials speak for themselves in terms of the experience of the client and the individual, in terms of how they can see the benefits of mediation to the disputes that they have. So I'm a huge advocate of mediation, and I can see the real change it can make, and just the ability to kind of hone straight in on the real issues that are important to corporate organisations and important to individuals, rather than what a court is prepared to hear about.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. And when you're mediating, what is it for you that you find most rewarding?
So I think I'll probably break that down into what, for me personally, I find most rewarding, and then
Yeah.
what I find most rewarding in my observation of parties that participate. So for me, I find the work really rewarding in the fast nature of it, the fast-paced nature of it, the ability to be really flexible in what I'm doing in during a mediation, and just in the I suppose the pace of the work and the responsiveness. You know, you're kind of on your feet all day, really working with parties to find a resolution. And I love the collaborative nature of that. So for me, it's work that I love thinking on my feet. I love being creative. I love sometimes, you know, just coming up with different solutions and suggestions. Because obviously it's the parties that are coming up with those. So I love being part of that. I love just hearing what will really make a difference for individuals. And the most rewarding part for me is getting to the end of the mediation, and just seeing the relief, and seeing a weight lift, and just observing parties as they leave the location of the mediation, whether it's online or whether it's in person. That the most rewarding part of it is just seeing that weight lift as
The kind of
they
the
leave.
peace dividend, they call it, don't they? You know, the fact
Absolutely.
that you can go home that evening and this is behind you, and then you start the next morning thinking, right, this weight's lifted,
Yeah.
onwards I can go. No, that's great.
Yeah, and you see the change in people's, you know, just faces and demeanor when they actually are in that mindset of, we can move forward now.
Yeah.
So that for me is absolutely the most rewarding part.
Oh, that's good. Great. And you mentioned that you do a lot of employment related work. Do you have a particular specialism in the employment that you particularly like doing in the context of mediation? And you mentioned discrimination. Is that your main area for mediations as well?
Yeah, I definitely would say I've done more mediations involving discrimination issues than any other type of employment issue. And that is something I would say is a specialism that I enjoy working in. And when I look at the disputes that I do, I think those workplace issues where there's a relationship issue or a discrimination allegation, that's the type of work that I enjoy doing the most. And I will also mediate regularly in relation to employment claims. So I think I probably enjoy the disputes in which perhaps a claim hasn't been brought and you're trying to find a resolution for parties earlier on before the litigation has been initiated. But I've also successfully mediated in a number of cases where claims are already up and running and parties want to find another way to resolve those.
Okay, and you kind of touched upon the peace dividend, but do you think that's the biggest benefit of mediation, or are there other benefits that you are particularly drawn to?
I think that's the main benefit, that ability to move forward and to move forward quickly. But the other benefits, I think, are that parties are able to explore the aspects of the dispute that are really important to them.
Yeah.
I've seen over the years parties' disappointment in appearing before an employment tribunal or a court when those issues that are really important to them are issues that they're not able to talk about, when they discover that the court is only going to apply very strict legal tests and award a compensatory amount if they're successful. And that, whilst it takes parties so far, can often be a real disappointment to parties, when actually what's really important to them might be the emotional toll a case has taken on them, or another aspect of the case that they just really want to be heard on. So I think that ability for parties to really get their message across and really engage with each other to get an understanding of where the other is coming from, I think is a real powerful aspect of mediation, and is an area that I see as a real benefit.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. And if you're happy to, can you give a quick comment about your experience of working with Mediator Locator?
Absolutely. We've, as a firm, have really enjoyed our involvement with Mediator Locator. We very much can see that it's the specialist nature of the organisation in finding the right mediator for the right dispute. So our experience is that Mediator Locator takes a lot of time in getting to know us, getting to know the types of disputes that we would be appropriate for, the types of parties to mediation that may work well with us, and to really get to know how we like to work with those taking part in a mediation. So I think that has been a real positive for us in being involved in the organisation and being involved with Mediator Locator, is that we know that any connections that we are making and any disputes that we're involved in, a lot of thought and time has gone into selecting the correct mediator for those disputes. And another benefit has been getting to meet up with other mediators and just do some great CPD and learn about what other people are working on, and just share their experience, share their insights, share our stories about what's worked really well, and getting some really great insights into working with perhaps more vulnerable parties who have particular requirements, and how we can ensure that the mediation services we're offering are really delivering what the parties to the mediation need, and that we're actually tailoring it to their needs.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Dawn, for this.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Meet the Mediators. If you'd like to learn more about mediation, or find the right mediator, or indeed instruct Dawn to be your mediator, I couldn't recommend her more highly. Visit us at mediatorlocator.com. And until next time, thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, Stuart.